Hey everybody, I'm Brian.
And I'm Nikki.
And we are Cooking with the Cotas. I'm a finance guy with no idea how to cook in the kitchen.
And I'm a registered dietitian, and I also went to culinary school.
And together, we're going to show you and me how to cook in the kitchen. Today, we have a delicious chicken curry recipe for you. This is a recipe that came down from my grandmother, and then to my mother, and now to me. And we're releasing it to you. Now, my grandmother might not fully claim this recipe because we're taking some shortcuts with it, but this is still a very delicious dish, and I recommend it.
Yeah, we wanted to make a couple shortcuts just so that this is something you can make pretty quickly on a weeknight, or if you're trying to prepare something quick on the weekend.
Or if your then girlfriend at the time requests you to make it especially for her birthday. Nikki.
That was me.
And here's a cut of what I looked like during that time, and it was disastrous.
So, after seeing that clip, some takeaways would be to clean as you go.
And don't be afraid to call your mom 3 to 4 times if you have questions.
More like 5 or 6. But cleaning as you go is very helpful so that it doesn't become too overwhelming while you're trying to stir a pot and chop something and talk to your mom on the phone. So,
been there.
So we're gonna bring this recipe to you today, so let's get started.
So we have our mise en place, everything's in its place.
So you see we have our chicken, this is the main ingredient. This is actually one of the shortcuts. We're using rotisserie chicken. So we're gonna just debone and take the skin off of this chicken and make it easier on ourselves. But you can go through the process of having a whole chicken and cooking it to make a broth and all of that. But
with 1 large onion, carrots and celery, and a little bit of tea salt, which you probably
one teaspoon of salt.
That makes more sense. And covering it with H2O, and you simmer it for 1.5 to 2 hours. So now you know. But we're not gonna do that today because ain't nobody got time for that.
So with the dish, we have some good flavors going on. We have some ginger, curry powder, which is one of the main ingredients. So make sure you have the curry powder, and that's a blend of some different Indian spices. You can buy it in the store already mixed together, or you can make it yourself. But again, we want to make these things simple and quick for you. So we just have the blended curry powder from the store. We have raisins, we have an apple, that'll bring some nice sweetness to the dish. We have a tomato, we have our 2 onions that are already chopped. So we have some evaporated milk. We chose a low-fat option because we are going to be cooking this dish with a fair amount of butter. So we wanted to kind of compensate and have a little less fat in the evaporated milk. We have chicken broth. We chose a low-sodium chicken broth here. And then we have walnuts, and this is going to be a really nice finish to the dish. It'll give it a nice crunch when we're plating it.
Let's get started.
All right, so first up, we're gonna debone the chicken. So, since we both have a chicken here, let's see who gets done first.
So in deboning the chicken, we are taking off the skin and we are pulling away the chicken and separating it, thus deboning it. The recipe calls for a 4 to 5 pound chicken, so that's why we have 2 rotisserie chickens, and this should yield the amount of chicken that we're looking for. Worst case, if it's a little bit extra, we have some leftover chicken that we can use another way.
You can shred that if you'd like. We're just deboning it first, and then we'll get it into smaller pieces.
Wow, honey, you're falling behind.
We had to switch batteries on the camera, so it may look like Brian is doing.
Some people will use any excuse to help them. This was a fair race, and I won.
You're done?
And I'm winning.
All right, so it looks like we're done. I think I beat him, by the way. I finished like 5 minutes ago. But we are done, and we are going to discard all of our carcasses, our carcass.
we have our bowl of chicken, and Nikki's going through this and she's just breaking up the pieces. We want smaller bite-sized pieces.
For the apple, we're gonna dice this, so we're actually gonna cut right through the core. To core it, you're gonna use a paring knife. I'll show you the first one and then you can do the next one. You're gonna choke up on that knife and just make a couple diagonal cuts here. See how that core kind of comes out? There you go. Now we're gonna lay it flat. Yep, and you're gonna do thin vertical slices all the way through. Now we have all these pieces and you're actually going to lay them on top of each other, kind of stack up some, and you're gonna make a couple more vertical slices. Maybe do 1 or 2. All right, and then you're just gonna twist that 90 degrees and make some dices. And keep those fingertips. Beautiful.
Leaning tower of apples. It's not a full apple because we ate some and the dogs ate some.
The next thing we're gonna cut is the tomato. We're gonna cut a little bit of the top off. You're gonna lay it flat here and you're gonna do a lot of thin slices. Then we're gonna lay a couple stacks down and we're gonna do more slices here. This is a really juicy tomato. Then you're gonna rotate it.
Favorite time of cooking, plating it. Our dogs are ready, I'm ready, let's get this plated.
Okay.
So we are going to add rice. We're going to be a little bit more generous serving size wise, so we have a cup of rice right now.
We had this brown rice cooking while we were making the chicken curry, so it was ready to go when we were done. And we chose a brown rice here, again, just to get a little bit more fiber. His family's traditional recipe did have the white rice, which we do use sometimes, but we chose to do brown rice today.
And now we are going to add our chicken curry to the rice. You want to get that chicken as well as all that nice juice and really drape it over it.
This is a beautiful color.
She's a fan of yellow. Hashtag yellow.
And then we are going to garnish it with some chopped walnuts. Nope. I wanted to show you how nice mine would look compared to his, but
I encouraged a little bit extra walnut on there, as it should be done. And you can also garnish with some raisins if you would like. Again, these will be harder since they weren't cooked with the dish, but it can be a nice garnish. And I am only allowed to garnish mine now.
there you have it. Finally done. We have our chicken curry. Again, one of Brian's favorite dishes that we are so happy to bring to you today. So I hope that you enjoy it as much as we will. Let's dig in. We really hope that you enjoyed this. If there's anything that you want us to cook or bake, put it in the comments below. We're looking for new ideas. We want to make things that you would enjoy as well.
As always, thanks again for tuning in to this week's Cooking with the Cotas. Catch us next time. Hey, thanks again for watching this week's episode. Like and subscribe below.